Good morning. Good morning. We are back with a pre-match show as the dreaded international break, or well, as international breaks have been welcomed this season. A 2-week break from footy. So I am joined by Sir Z, Brian Shelton. Shelton is in his new shed, coming from a disclosed place in the middle of woods. There may or may not be a body buried under that shed. Or 5. If you saw his Halloween decorations, you would know I would take the over. Brian Shelton, how the hell are you?
Doing fantastic. Been up since 5:30. Come there to smoking turkey and pork belly.
Jeez. Wonderful. I've been up since 5:30, thinking about how the hell I would get through 30 minutes with you two lot. Sir Z from Texas, a relocated Sir Z. How are things? Have you got yourself a big ass hat yet? I need to know. Have you got yourself a big ass hat?
No, but it's I woke up at 3 in the morning because there was a storm and we had a power cut and my alarm started going off in the house. Luckily my wife and the kids, they're back in California for Thanksgiving. But yeah, it's been a long time. It's been hopefully this is like gonna break the curse and we might actually start winning games again.
I'm hoping that as well. So let's get into the games here. As we know, Liverpool take on Nottingham Forest at home at Anfield, expecting a big crowd, expecting a big environment. But to be totally honest, because it's 2025, 2026 season, I have no effing clue what to expect from the Reds. So before we look at the lineup, Sir Z, you live and die. And when I say that, I mean literally your blood pressure almost kills you during matches. So what do you expect from the Reds today? Regardless of lineup, what do you expect from performance? What do you expect from just basically the sheer volume of energy, excitement, drive? Like, do you think they're going to be up for it today? Do you think it's going to be a slug? Because we've been a slug before when we come back from these international breaks, let alone one with so much emotion attached to it.
Yeah, I think as fans, we tell ourselves and we G ourselves up thinking that the players actually give a shit about what us fans think and feel. I'm expecting
that's fact.
I'm expecting a horrible start and a horrible performance because after that Real Madrid game, I thought that's it. We've turned the corner. We've turned so many corners that we're back to square one again. And no, we just don't. I mean, as me and Brian were saying, off air, like on Thursday night, like the game plan we had in our heads just completely went out the window the moment Arne Slot opened his mouth yesterday in the press conference, and I'm just expecting the crowd to be nervy, and just the players to be nervy, and the one inspiration I have is I saw Andy Robertson and. He's on a high, and I saw him in training yesterday. He's on a high, and hopefully he has the performance of. Well, is he even playing today? I can't remember if he's starting or not. But I don't know. I mean, I just having a look at the team, it doesn't really inspire me with any confidence. And yeah, I'm at that point. I'm just like, all right, let's just see what happens.
Ryan says, good morning. Really hoping for an early goal against Dyche's team. Good morning, Ryan. Thank you for tuning in as always. For everyone out there. Please go ahead, hit the like button, especially if you're on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You'll get all the great updates, but the likes really do help push the content out there, and we do appreciate your help with that. Brian Shelton, we'll come to you. Let's get into the lineup. Basically, I think you guys at least got Van Dijk and Konate right when picking the lineup on Thursday night. Just kidding. You got at least Szoboszlai as well. But talk to me about what you felt when you first saw this. Obviously, the big man with the picture on the front page lets you know it is an Isak day. They are starting the number 9. First, I believe this is his first league start at home, because I think his only league start was at Palace, right? I believe.
Yeah.
So it's interesting here. Excited to see Isak from the rip. Nervous. Where are your thoughts at? Obviously, he did not play in the second international friendly for Sweden. I was a little shocked, but then I realized they had that whole thing where they were going to qualify no matter what, because they knew they finished high enough in the Nations League for that one of the 4 third place, and he's on a yellow card to the point where he'd be suspended for the next match for Sweden. So I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. Good managing by Graham Potter. Ryan Shelton, what jumps out at you when you see this lineup first and foremost?
Who's going to play right back? That's the first thing I can't do. Are we going to see Szoboszlai back at right back again, or is Jones going to be a right back? Especially kind of confused with him why Gomez isn't actually getting a start right there at right back. But I kind of see also that we need something to go back up. If Konate has a toilet game again.
I mean, you can't play all 3 of your fit center backs if you only have 3. So I get that part.
Yeah, I'm excited to go there and see Isak come there from the start right there. But like I said on Thursday night, I need to go there and eventually see Ikiteke, Isak, and Bertz all on the pitch at the same time to see what this next progression of our side is going to be. But I like Jones. I think Jones is very has very forward thinking and all that, and I think you're going to need that for this type of match because we played Sean Dyche with many different sides, and he plays the same exact way every time. He's going to go out there and grind it out right there, and you're going to have to figure out a way to break them down.
Sir Z, Brian touched on the right back. Obviously, that's a big shout from the manager. He didn't have a choice, right? It was basically start one of his midfielders or
Ramsey.
Start Ramsey, gamble, right? Start Endo. There were limited options for him to play at right back. Which of the 2 do you think we'll see at right back? Which of the 2 do you want to play right back today?
I think we'll see Szoboszlai as right back. It's tried and tested, and as a right back, he hasn't let us down. But we obviously miss his strengths in midfield. But given a choice out of Jones or Szoboszlai as right back, they're definitely you'll have to go with Szoboszlai. He's had the more experience this season, and like I say, he really hasn't let us down. Konate needs a strong player to cover him. I don't think Jones is that player as a defender to cover to cover Konate. But what I also like about Jones, and he's probably the most divisive player we have on that team. But when he's on point, he's on point, and he keeps the game going, and he's always looking for attacking options. Which is what we're going to need against a team that we know it's not the same Forest team as last season, or under Big Ange, they're going to be low block, and we just need to keep that ball going and just keep the game flowing. And I don't know why we've stopped attacking from kickoff this season. We just have to be back to how we used to play and just go full throttle. I know it's not going to happen, but that's what needs to happen.
I'm probably in the minority here. I think if you ask me the same question I asked you, I might say I expect Szoboszlai at right back, but I think I would want Jones. And it's not a shot at either one playing right back. I think that this midfield goes as far as Szoboszlai takes it at this point. Yeah. And if Wirtz is playing, then maybe I can see the argument for Szoboszlai playing at right back. But the fact that the manager said that Bradley will play no part of the next 22 days, which means he's going to miss 7 league matches, not counting the Champions League. If he's going to miss that amount of time, I think you have to settle. And I think he said Frimpong will not be available for at least the first 3 weeks of that. Or 2 weeks of that minimum. So I think you have to settle on a right back. And I think the fact that Wirtz is out makes it almost imperative for Szoboszlai to be in the middle of the pitch, to do the grafting, to do the running, to hopefully get somewhat of a semblance of Mo Salah back. Plus, I hate to say it, we don't really know what type of leader of the press Isak is. Yeah. And I think if you don't know that, I'd be a little nervous without having Szoboszlai's running ability and graph in the middle of the pitch. And as much as I am one that has always defended Jones, or has defended Jones over the last 2.5 seasons since I kind of turned the corner on he's not good enough. And, Bickler and I both said, I think it was 3 summers ago, if someone offered us $25 million for Jones, we'd literally bite their hand off, and he needed to go to a place like Palace to prove he was at this level because he wasn't
Yeah.
Liverpool's level. And I was totally wrong. And I know Jones divides opinion like most English players do. And it's easy when you only have one or two Englishmen on your entire side. I do think it's shocking that we finally are starting someone from England, and most of the people from England will still find a way to complain about it by 10 minutes into the match today. So as we go into this match, obviously the other big shout from the manager is he's starting the young Hungarian left back. And he's put Robertson back on the bench after 4 consecutive starts, counting the Palace match. So Shelton, I'll come to you here. I am personally not surprised given how emotional and big of a international break it was for Robertson, captaining his team, playing 2 full 90s, qualifying for the World Cup. I mean, what a 2 weeks for Andy Robertson. Are you nervous about Kirkez being back in the lineup? Do you think the manager actually targeted this match saying, I'm going to give him the international break, get him out of the firing squad, but the manager knows he has to get him back in? Is this good management? Is this poor management? What do you see when it comes to Kirkez getting the start today?
I thought it was actually going to be opposite. I thought that Robertson would start this, and then Kirkez would start against PSV, and then go that, because I think PSV is a little bit more of a easier match right there for him to deal with. I guess my problem right there is that I never have yet to see a good link up between Gapco and Kirkez yet, and so that's where going to be I think they try to occupy the same space a lot of times with there. So that's my worry on this. I think that Robertson is more settled back and actually helps on that left-hand side more than Kirkez does. So I think Kirkez likes to try to make those runs, and leaves that side open. So yeah, I'm a little nervous about it. I mean, honestly.
So Z, how about you when it comes to Kirkez starting today? Shocked, awe, angered? What's up?
All of the above. Again, what we're saying on Thursday, we should be picking our team backwards, and I think I would have played Kirkez against PSV rather than today. It's such a big game. It's, again, we're saying this every week. It's the most important game in our season, and Gakpo on the left and Kirkez, it hasn't worked. It doesn't work. We need. Especially,
Can we just stop for a sec, though? I want to just point something out. Robertson has not pulled up trees. He had one really good match, and he hasn't played well with Gakpo either. And the best he played was when Gakpo wasn't on the pitch. So I feel like we are making this very much a Kirkez issue.
I don't think it's Kirkez itself. It's more Gakpo, and I just think we've got that left side is just too imbalanced, where we've got 2 poor players on that side. If it was Kirkez and Ekitike, or even worse, okay, yeah. I don't think Kirkez is a bad player. I think he's getting a lot of crap this season, and some of it's his own doing. But obviously, as supporters, we're looking for scapegoats and we're looking for a target man, and unfortunately, Kirkez is that. I personally. Again, it's going to sound kind of contradictory. I mean, for me, it's Gakpo. I mean, even though he scored goals, but he doesn't do it for me. He's not fluid enough, and I think to have them both on that left side, it's too imbalanced. And you look at Nico Williams, he's a product of Jurgen Klopp, and Linda's like just attacking, and I think he's going to do it. And Nico Williams, we've seen it every time Nottingham Forest are playing against us. He's been the man of the match, and I think he's going to do one on both our Gakpo and Kirkez on that side.
So one of the things that's interesting about today is not interesting, but annoying. And if Timuchin was up this morning and fit and firing, as we like to say, he would have already called him Sean Douche. And I felt this was a fitting picture, because I'm pretty sure this was after the 2-0 Liverpool win against Everton, when he tried to explain that we felt lucky. We were probably lucky to get a result today. Like, I'm pretty sure they feel lucky in that locker room right now. And I think after the match, Klopp was like, we are lucky. We represent the red side of the city. Like, one of the all-time great Klopp comebacks. Sean Douche, not my cup of tea, but obviously the manager of Nottingham Forest. And I brought that slide up because I just feel like this is part of the story that I think gets lost a lot when people look at seasons teams, right? Like, yes, we have played some of the same sides as other sides. Arsenal's had some tough fixtures. We've had some tough fixtures. We played each other. But at times it's a sliding door moment of when you play someone. So Arsenal got to play Forest with Ange and West Ham with Graham Potter. And we're going to play Forest with Dice and West Ham with Nuno. And it's a completely different, kettle of fish, right? So let's take a look at the lineup. You mentioned young Nico Williams. He will be starting today at right back. I almost wonder if part of the reason that Kirkez is in today is to give Williams something more to worry about defensively, where he didn't have to worry as much. I think there's reason for it. Obviously, we go through their lineup: Williams, Murillo, Sangara, Anderson, who's probably been their standout player this season, Gibbs White, which somehow they, I think the owner just put him in a room and told him, you will sign this contract or I will make you wear my toga. The young winger Ndoye, who they bought from Italy. And then, of course, you have Dominguez, the Brazilian, I think he is, or South American Jesus, Milenkovic at the back, and Savonia, the other fullback. If I ask you, Brian Shelton, looking at this lineup, one, could you pick any of their attackers out of a lineup? Two, who worries you? Where does Liverpool's backline need to put their focus to make sure they don't get done by this smash and grab Sean Douche side?
Just before I put their insight right there, there's some attacking players right there just aren't Sean Dice players in this side right there. I mean, I think that Gibbs White right there definitely is a worry for me. I mean, I think he's a pretty class player, and I think that and that's probably going to be my biggest concern right there is this creativity in this match. Morello also I think is a pretty brilliant player. Same with Anderson. There's the three people that really pick it out on the side for me and all that. But I mean, I think that I just don't know how Dice is going to play with these type of players, and because he's a very staunch defensive type of manager, to have these type of players who are more creative and attacking. That's not Dice ball.
How about you, Z? Where are you looking? What are you worried about as far as the touch points here in Forest attack? What do Liverpool need to be cognizant of, and what's the route to victory?
Really cognizant of each other. Konate needs to have a big game. He has to have a big game, and we need to control that midfield. It's not so much Forest, the quality players, obviously, Gibbs White, even, Hudson-Odoi worries, man. He's on the bench. Like, but it's us. We're just so self-destructive. And if we can get our shit together in defense, and it helps that Alisson's back, it's not a slight on Mamadashvili, but he doesn't have that same presence in that defense as Alisson for obvious reasons. I think that's a huge point for us. But Konate just has to have a huge, massive game. He needs to make up for that atrocity against City, and we did have to control that midfield. If we can control that, I think everything else will just fall into place. But we can't concede. We can't concede early. We concede early, and that's it. It's almost game up. Forest will sit back. Our crowd would get dysfunctional, and and with Konate, it just feels like I don't play golf, but when I have played golf, once you start poor, it's hard to get back control, and that's what Konate's like right now.
Yeah, I've said it before on the Monday Night Pod and some of these shows as well in the mornings. Like, Konate is very much. Konate's issue for me isn't that he isn't a good player, because I think he's a really, really good player, and on his days, a class player. My issue with Konate is he either gives you an 8.5 out of 10, or he gives you a 4. And Timuchin said it. I made that comment one time on a Monday, and Timuchin said, and you know what? As much as it annoys you, you can get away with that if you're Cody Gakpo and you have some 4s and some 8.5s because you play on the left wing. But when you're a center back, you just can't live in that type of math. Like that.
Exactly.
That's where, Jamie Carragher for all those years got overlooked because he basically gave you a 7 every day as soon as he put his boots on. And then, occasionally he'd give you a clunker of an own goal or 4. But he always gave you a 7 out of 10 performance. Rarely did he give you an 11, right? And we've seen it. I mean, we're talking about Konate, who was the man of the match of a Champions League final that we lost. I mean, that can't be overlooked. And he did that at 22, I think, 23 years old. We were all, raring and ready to go to see what the future held for him. His inconsistency for me, his inability to play himself out of bad form. He makes a mistake in the first 5 minutes, you might as well yank him. For all the shtick we gave Lovren, Lovren held his hand up and owned it. I don't think Konate's ever been accountable for any mistake he's ever had.
Nope.
I think he genuinely believes he is at the level of Virgil van Dijk, and that is another one of his huge downfalls, or it allows the detractors. So let's get off Gakpo, get off Konate. We talked about Kirkes. We touched on the right back situation. McAllister back in the lineup. Ryan mentions, I'm excited to watch Maka play on a Saturday right after the international game. Just kidding. So he didn't play as many minutes. Argentina was not, they didn't travel as far. So that was all positives. Are you worried about McAllister? Do you think after this break, the match against Madrid, he got basically 3 decent performances under his belt in a row? Do you think we start to see the best of Alexis McAllister? Is Alexis McAllister still someone that has to be penciled into the team sheet each and every week, like he has been for the last 2 years?
Not right now. And it's hard for me to say that because he's one of my favorite players. And also given his last 2 seasons, you'd think he's like, the first person in there. But obviously prior to Friday, the team that I picked and, the rest of the guys agreed, like put Wirtz instead of Maka. And that's what I would have gone with. I think Maka, again, he needs to have a huge game. We know he's capable. It's not that he's lost in his head. I just think he's physically, his body's trying to catch up with his head, and I think that's where we're losing it. And he doesn't have that control in midfield. And it's like what Kazi was saying the other day. We need these leaders to basically get the scuff on the neck in that game and start leading that team like he used to. This season, it's just been, I think he's just obviously trying to find back his own form, and we've suffered for that. And sorry, I know we're off the topic of Konate, but yeah, you hit the nail on the head of Konate. Like he's either hot or he's cold, and that's why we missed someone like Matip, because Matip didn't try to be Virgil. Matip was his own player, and he was happy being the understudy to Virgil. He was happy for Virgil to get the limelight and everything else, and Matip just did the dirty, and that's what we need. We need someone like that. That's why it's so important that we get Gahey. But that's a different topic. Going back to Maka, it is what it is. He's one of the best players we have. He just needs to find his form back and needs to be able to control that midfield.
Before we get to the predictions, let's take a quick look at the other matches around the Premier League this weekend. Chelsea is taking on Burnley. This slide was put together a little earlier. Chelsea has just scored a second. I think it's the 90th minute now. They're up 2-0. Enzo Fernandez scored the second. I believe the first was a Pedro Neto goal. Chelsea's an interesting one. They keep ticking along. They're getting results. They're a lot closer to the top of the table than people recognize, right? They're within touching distance. I don't think they are a legitimate title challenger. It's an interesting weekend, though, because there's not really one here outside of, the big North London derby tomorrow between Spurs and Arsenal that really jumps out at you. I do want to ask you about there was a time where we would all say Newcastle away is arguably the third or fourth toughest road fixture for any side in the country. Hasn't proved to be that so far this year. Eddie Howe's obviously under a little pressure right now. Injuries have mounted on them. Injuries at the back, and let's be real, they had a horror of of a transfer window, which happens when you don't have football people running a football club. So, Brian, I'll start with you. What do you expect out of Man City Newcastle today? Pep has struggled in trips to St. James's Park in the past. Could Newcastle surprise City with a robust defensive performance? Could this be somewhere where City slips up?
Nope. I think that Holland's is on such a great form right now. I just don't see Newcastle's defense coming there and stopping him. You're not going to stop this guy from scoring. And I think that City is just honestly, in my opinion, I think City are a favorite for the title at the moment. I really think that they're on that type of trajectory right there where they're just going to keep on chugging along.
Z, you think they have a shot today, Newcastle, to get anything off City? And what do you expect tomorrow in the big matchup of probably the weekend between Arsenal and Tottenham?
Also, I want Tottenham to. I can't. Everyone knows how I feel about Arsenal, but I think Arsenal will win that game comfortably. I think Newcastle will win comfortably, and for the stick that we've given Man City over the years and stuff, I really, at a lesser of two evils, I want Man City to win the league this season. But it's like Brian said. There's no stopping Haaland. He's probably the best player right now in the world.
I don't know if you guys saw the stat for club and country in 2025. He scored 97 goals.
Jeez.
Club and country.
It's unbelievable.
He's on pace for 47 goals.
He's a complete forward. He's a complete number 9.
He's absolutely improved his game. We gave him stick for not doing enough off the ball last year. He does a lot more than people think. He makes intelligent runs. It's just the fact that he finishes as well as he does. I would slightly disagree on one level. I do not think the Arsenal match will be comfortable for the plain fact that I don't think Arsenal, as much as they can make a 1-0 win against Burnley feel comfortable, I don't think you can do that against Spurs. I believe Spurs had Kulusevski and Solanke in training last week. So there's potential that both of them make the bench. I think Kulusevski and Solanke, but more Kulusevski, has been the biggest loss for Spurs so far this year. Kudus is supposedly going to be back as well. It's a bizarro world for Spurs. They're number 1 in the league, points earned away from home, and 19th at home. So maybe in some ways they're excited for this. And I also think it's one thing to drop Mascara in. And I know I'll get shtick for saying this, but I'm a realist, so I'll be real. Right now, Gabriel Magalhaes is probably the best center back in world football, if not in the Premier League. As great as Virgil is right now, he plays up everyone around him. And I think it's a massive loss when you have Mascara playing next to Saliba compared to Mascara playing next to Gabriel. And I do think that backline at times can be susceptible. I should say Gabriel is the greatest in the world outside of my man Saidu, because if you want to have your comments brought up, just call the host a legend over and over and over. We love you, Saidu. Appreciate you very much. Josh also in here. Morning, boys. To start the year, there was a lot of talk about Liverpool needing a 6 to give some depth to the position with Gravenberch flourishing in the role. Is a 6 required? Yes or no? Probably a topic for a different pod as we're getting ready to wrap this up, but I will chime in. I don't believe a true 6 is required if we're going to play this type of a formation. I think that we are going to shift to more of a diamond, or we're going to play with 2 up top and 1 behind, or Wirtz is going to be given that. I know Bickler keeps calling for it. Like, we need to basically set up the way Germany sets up because they clearly know how to get the best out of him. And in a lot of ways, Voltemata is kind of a striker similar to what Ekitike is because he drops deep and he brings players in together. It's just a question of how do you get Isak into that? I don't believe they need a true 6. If it were me, and I'll speak for my Friday co-host, and I won't do the Scouse accent, but like, fuck me, just go sign Adam Wharton. Like, fuck me, what are we doing? Like, and I can almost hear him saying it. Like, what are we doing? Like, just sign Adam Wharton. I mean, we have homegrown issues. We know that. We have numbers problems. We need depth in the midfield. I've been saying all along, it's not a transfer show, but all things come back to transfers. I still question whether or not one of the midfielders will go this summer. I've always thought it probably will be McAllister to raise funds to make the next big acquisition. I kind of see a world where like McAllister and Mo are the two exits, and then two big players come in to replace them in the starting 11, and then you build from there. But that's a show for January. That's a show for the summer. Let's get right now to our predictions. If you're in the chat, you can toss them in as well. Brian Shelton, we will start with you. Final score, man of the match. Who are you watching?
I'm still going with the 2-1. I went with 3-1 on Thursday. I'm going to go with a 2-1. But I think the person to watch right there in this match is probably going to be Isak. I think Isak's going to actually come good in this match.
And we'll go to you next, Sir Z.
I said 3-1 Thursday night, but I don't know. I think Alisson being back is key. I think I was going to go 1-1, but I can't. I'll have to go. I have to say 1-0 and an own goal for us. So we'll win this with an own goal.
Oh, fucking bite your tongue. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say we get right. We have a get right day. 3-0. Doesn't feel like it. Maybe it's a 1-0 late in the first half. We get one in the second. Man of the match. I'm gonna say it's we got a prediction here from Kev. Good luck. You're gonna smash Forest 3-1. Cheers from New Zealand. Thank you for tuning in. Saidu says 2-0. I went with the 3-0. Man of the match. I'm gonna say Soboslai's the man of the match because it's the easiest thing to say because he has genuinely been the best player from start to finish of just about every match this year. But I do think today is the day. I think Isak gets a brace and Mo gets a goal. That's how we get the 3. I'd really like to see Chiesa get important minutes, 20, 30 minutes, because I think he has to start against PSV, especially seeing this lineup today. I'd start Ekitike and Chiesa against PSV. I don't think I'd go as far as to start Rio, but I might, I'd probably run Mo out for a little bit. Maybe not even. Maybe I'd start Chiesa on the right to see what AFCON's going to look like. But it's going to be a huge period of time here. These guys are going to have to play a lot of minutes. For everyone here at the channel, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. Get on in there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You get all the updates, the Monday show, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning shows, Thursday night podcast, Tuesday night panel show, pre-match, post-match. I do believe Timuchin plans to do a post-match. I will not be here. I'm going to the pub. Then I'm going to a kid's birthday party, which basically means all those young kids, they're going to learn what surly Uncle Gally looks like if Liverpool doesn't get this victory. So don't go ruin that kid's birthday party, Liverpool. Up the fucking Reds. Let's get 3 points.